In this video, I explain to you how the 30 Years' War began and why it became one of the worst conflicts in Europe. You will learn which events triggered it, who was involved, and how the war kept spreading. The 30 Years' War started in 1618 in Bohemia, a part of the Holy Roman Empire. Catholics and Protestants were fighting over power and religion. A famous trigger was the Defenestration of Prague, where Bohemian nobles threw Catholic representatives out of a window. That was the starting signal for a great conflict. The Bohemian Protestants did not want a Catholic king and chose Frederick V as their new ruler. Emperor Ferdinand II, a strict Catholic, saw this as rebellion. He sent troops to crush the uprising. The Protestants lost in 1620 at the Battle of White Mountain. After the victory at White Mountain, the Catholic League became active. It was an alliance of Catholic princes led by Maximilian of Bavaria. Their goal was to weaken Protestantism. They recaptured many territories and forced people to convert to Catholicism. Frederick V, also called the Winter King, had to flee after the defeat. Catholic troops took over his homeland, the Palatinate. This made the war even bigger because other countries got involved. The conflict slowly spread. From 1625, more countries joined because religion and power affected everyone. Denmark, led by King Christian IV, supported the Protestants. The emperor called on Albrecht von Wallenstein, a capable commander, for help. The war was no longer fought only in Germany. Albrecht von Wallenstein built a huge army for the emperor. He was clever and brutal and won many battles against the Protestants. However, his power also made him unpopular among allies. In 1630, he was even briefly dismissed. In 1629, Emperor Ferdinand II issued the Edict of Restitution. It demanded that all Protestant territories that had become Catholic since 1555 be returned. Many princes were angry because they lost land. This made the war even more complicated. In 1630, Gustavus Adolphus, the King of Sweden, entered the scene. He was Protestant and wanted to strengthen his power in Northern Europe. With his strong army, he fought against the Catholic troops. He became a hero for many Protestants. In 1631, Gustavus Adolphus met the Catholic army at Breitenfeld. His troops were well organized and won decisively. This gave the Protestants new courage. The war shifted in favor of the Swedes. After several defeats, the emperor reinstated Wallenstein in 1632. He was supposed to stop the Swedish army. At the Battle of Lutzen, he met Gustavus Adolphus. Wallenstein lost, but Gustavus Adolphus died in battle. The death of Gustavus Adolphus shocked the Protestants. Sweden continued fighting, but it was harder without him. The Battle of Lutzen was a victory, but the king's loss weakened them. The war entered a new phase. In 1635, the Peace of Prague was signed to calm the war. Many German princes agreed with the emperor. Sweden and France were not involved and continued fighting. The peace lasted only briefly. France under Cardinal Richelieu became more involved from 1635. Although Catholic, it wanted to weaken the emperor because he had become too powerful. France supported the Protestants with money and troops. The war became even more confusing. In 1634, the Catholic troops won against Sweden at Nordlingen. This was a major setback for the Protestants. Many territories returned to the emperor. The Protestants' hope faded. After 1635, the war became increasingly chaotic and brutal. Armies looted villages and towns, no matter who controlled them. People suffered from hunger and disease. It seemed as if the conflict would never end. Many soldiers were mercenaries who fought for money. They often switched sides depending on who paid better. This made the war unpredictable. For the population, they were a plague. The war destroyed large parts of Germany. Villages were burned, fields trampled, and towns emptied. Millions of people died, many from hunger or plague. It was one of the worst times in history. Despite Gustavus Adolphus's death, Sweden remained a major power. Under new leaders like Axel Oxenstierna, they kept fighting. They wanted to maintain influence in Germany. Their army was still feared. France now openly fought against the House of Habsburg, to which the emperor belonged. It was less about religion and more about power in Europe. The battles grew bigger and more costly. The war took a new direction. In 1643, France defeated the Spanish allies of the emperor at Rocroi. This showed that France was getting stronger. Spain, part of the Habsburg Empire, lost influence. The war was slowly coming to an end. From 1643, countries began talking about peace. The negotiations took place in Münster and Osnabrück. It was difficult because so many countries were involved. Everyone wanted to gain something. In 1648, the Peace of Westphalia was signed. It ended the 30 Years' War after 30 years. Each country received certain rights, and religion was handled more freely. It was a great moment for Europe. Germany was a wasteland after the war. Many cities were destroyed and the population had shrunk. The princes now had more power than the emperor. It took a long time for everything to recover. Religion was the initial cause of the war. In the end, it was more about politics and power. Catholics and Protestants had to learn to live together. The peace brought a new order. The war changed the power in Europe. France and Sweden became stronger, the Habsburg Empire weaker, Spain lost importance. It was the beginning of a new era. The 30 Years' War was incredibly expensive. Countries went into debt to pay soldiers. Ordinary people suffered the most. Economically, everything was devastated. Children had no chance for a normal childhood during the war. Many became orphans or had to flee. They witnessed violence and death every day. It was a lost generation. The plague broke out frequently during the war. Soldiers carried the disease from place to place. Entire villages died out. The war and plague made everything worse. After 1648, Germany slowly had to recover. New houses were built, fields cultivated. People wanted peace and a normal life. It was a tough new beginning. The 30 Years' War showed how terrible religious and political conflicts can become. It led to new rules in Europe. Countries never wanted to experience such a thing again. The peace was meant to ensure that.